It all comes down to this. After an entire weekend here at the Elestrals Dallas Open 2025 Premier event, over 400 casters, 200 players in the main event, 8 rounds of Swiss, and 4 rounds of Top Cut, we have whittled the competition down to our final 2 casters.
It is go time. You can just hear sort of the reverent chattering outside of this room. People are so excited. The second that these 2 finalists stepped on stage, there was applause. I cannot wait. We are getting into this. Bo going to be mulliganing.
I believe this is a mulligan, yeah.
Yeah, this is not a game that you can afford to keep an iffy hand. So I would have to agree that if it's a question, mulligan.
So the difference between Bo and Swole's decks is pretty night and day. Swolelax is playing a lot of cards that have been powerful since base set. Equilinx, Demeter, all of the Earth Elestrals that we've come to know, love, and loathe, alongside the new hotness in Moonrise, Werepup, Like a Void, Full Moon. These cards are incredible with each other, as you can enchant the Like a Void with a necessary Terratless in order to perform a Nexus with a card like Equilinx. Inversely, Bo's deck is a total pile of small synergies, 1s and 2-ofs, designed to be found at individual times during the course of the game, but unfortunately has the ability to produce these rough hands. Swole looks to be going first, and we are going to be going with the most common play on Elestrals. Turn 1, expend to draw. Being reactive is so much more powerful than being proactive. Without a Werepup or a turn 1 play, we're just setting up for Equilinxes and waiting. Bo's going to land a card that we haven't seen him cast yet that appears to be a Rummagem.
I love Rummagem. We saw that just this past game briefly, like, oh, he skirted by as we were fanning out a
During
hand.
the side deck, yeah.
Yes, yes. And he is here going to be searching out a 1-cost Earth Elestral, which is Equilinx.
Yeah.
This is a specific situation where Rummagem is so perfect because of the limiting of Equilinx. You can't always hope to consistently see it, but Rummagem is a tool that allows you to give that consistency.
This card's largely fallen out of favor in recent months. The first set, it of course was everywhere. Earth was an incredibly powerful deck, and Rummagem was the backbone of it, finding stuff like Viscerus and Equilinx, which can turn the tide so quickly. Now, just a little too slow, but Bo knows that Swole intends to play a plodding, methodical style of gameplay. I imagine that Rummagem is not only welcome in the opener, but probably staying in post-board.
And we see Swolax coming out with a rabbit
Aggro
in attack.
rabbit.
So he is plotting something here.
What's going on here, Swole?
Clearly cooking something in the hand that we are unaware of. A pretty quick grab there, maybe a little bit of deliberation.
The problem with players of Swole's caliber is that while we can read a lot into the quickness of the rabbit choice, he's probably picking a card that's only okay. Like any hesitation at all. You don't want to bleed too much information just by virtue of thinking too long.
And there is that, yeah, there she is. That is the play. Of course, over on both sides, having 2 back row to attack into. Of course, with a rabbit, you don't mind eating some back row here.
This is the thing about aggro rabbit. What are they going to do? Tsunami you, shield you? You'd love to develop that card again.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like we're going to set another, no longer scared of something like a hurricane. Pump up the rabbit, using the meter to get up to 5 attack. Trying to walk over the Rummagem to prevent something like an Equilinx Nexus, and down comes Argo. So both Swolelax and Bo are playing Argo, probably the standout card from this event. Now, Argo does so much for so many decks, but in Bo's deck specifically, it can get cards that increase the defense of specific Elestrals. Here, I imagine we're getting Scythe of Demeter, which has the capacity to preserve the Rummagem and also set up an incredible Equilinx play. Equilinx Nexus off the Scythe, destroy the Demeter, will put Swolelax in a hole it's possible he can't get out from.
And of course, with the Scythe, as we've seen before, this is also an additional benefit because unlike that Necklace of Harmonia that in the last game that we saw from Bo that would just burn at the end of every turn, Scythe actually does heal you. So it is an artifact that even if you don't have the Equilinx to immediately Nexus off of, which she does, never mind. You do get a heal, though, if you attack with it, but that is immediately going to be coming here. Popping...
You have the Gorgons.
Okay.
So the Gorgons here, super important. Going for the Gorgons on the linked effect rather than the Gorgons on the Nexus effect. You want the Scythe of Demeter off the field. You want the Spirits loaded up on the Equilinx because it puts you in a position where the specific... Oh, do we have an Argo? We do! Dueling Argos!
Argo to Argo!
Oh my gosh.
Argo to the moon!
What an incredible play here. And now the Equilynx has all the spirits underneath it, nothing to Nexus 2. It's a sitting duck for an Astrabbit that's likely going to meet some back row, but not before it gets in for a fair amount here. Picking the spirits on the original Argo cast so hard because so many really good Argo targets unfortunately cast specific spirits, things like the Scythe of Demeter that it looks like Swole is getting here.
There it is. And with Demeter enchanted, it is important to know that actually, instead of healing just 1 at the end of an attack, you get to heal 2.
What's the plus and minus on Scythe of Demeter?
I believe it's +2, +3. I could be wrong there.
So that will clear the Rummagem, that will heal 2. Little Ambrosia effect here, but it also does not threaten the Equilynx without using the Demeter.
That Equilynx is looking delicious.
It's suited up.
Yeah, that is a prime target if I've ever seen one. And Bo, if they are able to get it to stick with whatever counterrunes we have here, going to be able to set up more Nexus opportunities, the ability to pop this Demeter, to pop the Scythe of Demeter.
Do we have an Equilynx? That would be pretty good.
That would be really neat. However, there is only 1 Equilynx, as it has been limited, so the likelihood is not great. I imagine that if that Equilynx was in hand, that would have been a pretty quick cast there. Swole deliberating, trying to figure out what to do next.
It's a big turn.
Moment. Yeah, taking a moment to think, which I think is important here.
Hurricane. Just like... We're going for a Spectress.
Okay.
So Spectress is a great get here. We're going to go for the Water Enchanted Spectress. Kind of frustrating how we have to do this to play around the maximum amount of stuff. But at present, by buffing the Spectress here, we can get ourselves in a position where everything beats everybody.
Ooh, we did see a shield there, but instead going to go
off of the
Equilynx, which makes sense. Get some of those spirits off, make it a little bit less of a sitting duck.
And then we're going to try the Astrabbit, which does trade.
Shielded, and I think that means the Scythe is going to be
falling off as well.
Yes, which this is a huge hit for that shield, which is probably...
so that's all of the back row accounted for. We know there are 2 cards in Bo's hand, but this is going to be a huge swingy turn. By only pulling 1 spirit off the Equilynx, we can use the Equilynx's own spirits to perform a Nexus, eat the Demeter, potentially eat the Spectaris with whatever we cast here, provided it's got 5 attack. Rabbit is good. Rabbit's really strong.
Yeah, Rabbit is good here, and I think that if we had back row, this would be a good turn to take advantage of an attack Rabbit, but Bo, maybe knowing that preserving the wall, sort of protecting the castle, will be important in the next coming turns. With
down goes the meter.
Yep. That was a devastating turn, getting rid of not only the Scythe, but then immediately that Demeter. That, I believe Demeter had 1 spirit left on it.
At present, the Equilynx does still crash with the Spectre, so you have to find a way out of that.
That is...
It's a way out of it, but it's basically a 2-mana removal spell. Looks like instead of attacking, Bo is electing to just sit on the Equilynx. Do we have a back row as well? We don't.
No, but we do
Ambro.
have this, which is...
an Ambro pulling the Zaptor off here. How interesting. We're leaving the Tyratlis in rotation so that we can theoretically Equilynx on a future turn.
Yeah, which would sacrifice the Rabbit unless Bo is looking to re-enchant the Rabbit next turn to get some advantage there.
Find a back row as well.
Yeah, we are going to set 1. Swolelax at this point is really hoping for something big as Bo has pulled off a huge series of turns and is really protected at this point with that properly enchanted Golden Fleece, going to make sure that if Swolelax would knock out this Equilynx, it would simply not die. It would just sacrifice the Golden Fleece instead.
This is a hard turn.
We're really thumbing through, taking a lot of time to think. And Moss Station, and that is going to be a properly enchanted Moss Station, which we usually see, although I do remember there was an incredible...
So this outs the Equilynx. Moss Station gets rid of the Golden Fleece, bringing its defense down back to base. Then the Spectaris can get over. I do like this play. It's a mechanism by which you can use one of your very few Elestrals with a high attack stat to catch Bo off guard. Because it's properly enchanted, that Moss Station rather, is going to go to defense position. We're going to re-enchant the Rabbit here.
Yeah, which is...
Look at the top 3. Bo is really down on cards, but getting back in it with the assistance of this Ast Rabbit. This is an incredibly close game.
Yeah, the tension here is crazy. Swolelax is great to see with back row, both of these players having eliminated the Equilinks from the other side, and therefore being a little more free to set things in the back row.
Looks like 9 to 9. 9 to 8 here, rather. Setting 1. Ambro pulling off the Rabbit says, I'm never going to give you an opportunity to effectively deal with this Rabbit. Picking the Spirit really carefully, wanting to keep the Terratless in rotation for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that would be for.
It's
Usually
just the boy math.
Yeah.
The boy math in this deck is really bad. Trying to support Heliolith, Golden Fleece, enough Terratless for Equilinks, enough Zaptor for Astrabbit, Scythe of Demeter. There's just so much going on in this strategy.
And Swolelax asking a look at the underworld there, just to check to see what's going on. And we are going to be moving the Rabbit to attack, which that Moss Station, because of the effect...
It did what it had to.
Yeah, it was able to take out that Equilinks with the Golden Fleece, thanks to Spectaris helping as well. And we have an Ast Rabbit coming out from Swole's side as well.
Swole draw for turn.
You know...
I think he did.
He must have. He must have.
Excited to develop that Rabbit, of course, though.
Yeah.
So what you have to be careful for here is the same thing you had to be careful for a couple of turns back. This is a Rabbit and attack into an established board. Looks a lot like Argo to me. But Swolelax is going to be acutely aware of that. He's playing Argos of his own. It's even possible, if he's got an Argo, that he's going to contest the Argo with the Argo because of how these chains work.
Yes. We are Argo gaming, and I think that it's very fitting because, as you mentioned, it's been kind of the card of the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one of those that it can win a game the second that it is activated.
Yeah. What do we got?
It was a bluff set Ambrosia.
Yikes.
That is rough, as we were really hoping for that to be something real there, because you know that Bo has something set.
Now, the possible upside of this, there's a non-zero chance that we're firing this bluff Ambro now at a time that doesn't seem particularly opportune to clear the back row for a Hurricane. If that's the case, this could be probably the most powerful turn for Swole yet, but we'll see.
This would be a real turn for sure. We didn't get any of the Hurricane Spirits, but that doesn't mean that that's not the case.
We haven't had a chance to use them yet, I think.
Exactly. So
no, we're still going for it.
Oh, okay.
And there's the Argo, as expected. Says, oof, that's painful. Can't get Scythe of Demeter here. So I imagine we are getting the other Golden Fleece.
Yep, I see the Luminapes there. So this is going to be another properly enchanted Golden Fleece.
That doesn't do what you want. It protects the Astrabbit from this attack, but the attack still happens. The Golden Fleece will... Oh, we're grabbing Necklace.
Necklace of Harmonia.
Okay, never mind.
Well...
In that case, that does exactly what you want, which is sends the Spectress.
Exactly, and that means that that Rabbit is at a 7 attack stat, which is really scary. I think the only thing that could deal with that at this point is either like a Void or something with... We don't use Zeus. We've seen Demeter, who could help, but you would need to have something very specific.
Wow. Do we have a target for Cypermall? I was going to say, we've already seen the Golden Fleece. There's no way you are on additional copies. They are. We have to go for the Gorgon's Gaze here.
Wow. As we saw last game with this Necklace of Harmonia, Bo, despite the fact that they kept it around for multiple turns, taking that burn, just eating that, was still able, just because of the huge stat increase, was still able to clutch that game. And this is a very similar game state that we were in at that point.
Yeah. Bo down to 4. The rough part about this one is that Bo's an even number of spirits. Next turn, Bo is going to play 1, go to 3, pitch down to 1, and then everything that's on the board is all you get. So we'll thumbing through the hand here. There's a lot of good plays here, but you got to get to them. Ooh, Galactic Sea. Eddie's quite strong. Usually you see Eddie targeting the rabbit here. You know what?
Yes.
Actually, we're going to go for the Cyber Mall.
In fact, that is the strongest rabbit in the entire world.
Counting here, I think determining if he actually needs to make a play into the back row.
Mm-hmm.
The answer, I think, is no. You're not really in any danger, sans like Heliolith. Even that is all right.
It is going to be a Nope,
Nope,
another
Cyber
Cyber Mall. Oh, I was getting excited.
All right, so this one we don't have a Gorgon's Gaze for. Bo's going to go down to 3.
And there is that Golden Fleece.
Organized play stamp spotted. So they can turn off the Necklace of Harmonia a turn early by going for the Golden Fleece here, targeting the Cyper Mall, casting from the graveyard, and maybe 1 from the extra? Nah, they're doing from the Underworld anyway. They said, I'll pay for another turn on Necklace. We're going to get there.
Yeah, Bo is simply, I mean, after it worked last time, I don't blame them.
And an Ambro off the
okay.
Necklace of Harmonia.
There we go.
Okay, that'll do it.
And that is not what Swole wants to see. Being at 3, that was sort of a workable number, but now with the Cyper Mall, which you're going to have to hit twice in order to get rid of, you have the rabbit here who's no longer 7 attack.
That's nice, at least. Yeah.
That is a boon for sure. However, this is still a very scary board state from Bo.
All right. Cyper Mall into the Eddy. They're going to crash. That's going to send the Golden Fleece. Seems like a pretty bad play, except since the Golden Fleece was free, that's not that big of a deal. So a 5 here would do a lot of work. At minimum, you have to figure out a way to out the Astrabbit this turn. Any Elestral will do so. Ooh, and a Spectrus would be nice.
Yep, it is a Specterus.
We have something else as well. We do. That's an Ambro.
Okay. All right. We're still in this.
Game is still going.
Yes.
But when you're playing against Bo, you know that you have to be really scared of leaving anything on board. He's got a couple of cards in hand and has had them for a while. A Lustragon here could be game-endingly strong.
We could be looking at an Ascension. We have, however, seen 2 Golden Fleeces, a Scythe of Demeter, and a Necklace of Harmonia from Bo.
What are they realistically nexusing from at this point?
Right. Surely nothing.
Checking out the boy math here.
Okay.
I'm going to set 1. I imagine we're eating the bunny here. This is a hard call to make. You know, there's a chance that you figure they don't have a good thing to do with the bunny. That the bunny is kind of stranded in a world without Thunder Spirits.
And going to be going for that Cyper Mall, which,
Cyper Mall.
if you're trying to prevent that Ascension, does make a lot of sense, especially if you maybe have an answer to the rabbit, like an Eddy or something in hand already.
This means that if we ascended over the rabbit, it would be a misenchanted Lustragon, and, you know, much more answers to that than the one that can pop cards.
Stat-wise, very scary.
Yeah,
However,
really horrifying. Like a 7/8.
Then that is going to be a re-enchant on the rabbit.
Okay, we do have the Thunders, but I think Swole is just committed to the fact that loading up on the rabbit is a net good for him, letting him go wide as Bo goes tall onto an Elestral that dies to the significant amount of 1-drops, including Eddy. I imagine Bo here is trying to get, like, maybe a defensive rune to help protect the Astrabbit as he tries to find action. Important to note, like, not only are spirit counts so important in these decks as they get down to 5 and 4, since both of them are trying to resolve Argo, which functionally costs 4. But also, it's so important for an Earthquake coming out here. It's so important for both of these individuals to keep track of what they have left. You were saying no more Scythe, no more Necklace, probably no more Golden Fleeces. I imagine they're not playing 3.
Surely not 3.
And switching the Astrabbit to defense here, saying it's actually more important for me to get going.
Mudlet would do
God, Mudlet's crazy here.
I love you, Mudlet.
This was my favorite part of Swole's deck, is saying, you know, Eddy's really good, so I'm playing 6 of them.
And that means that Bo has a completely clear board, and Swole, despite having a few turns that seemed very scary, it has a pretty good board state.
Water Rabbit
Oh my
into
goodness.
the meter. We are just all in. Bo down to 2 here. We'll get over the Eddy. The Medi.
The
The Muddy.
Mudletty.
Mudletty. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that. All right, any Elestral clears the Ast Rabbit, and it looks like Swole's hand is just stuffed full of them.
And
Oh, as
Viscerus,
bad as it
that
gets.
is the
As
most
devastating as it gets.
incredible
Bo says,
card.
oh no, don't do this to me.
Oh, it's
Into Full Moon, that's the end of the game!
Oh my gosh.
Additional Nexus onto the Viscerus will go for an additional point of damage, and Bo says, you got it. We'll go next.
Wow.
Swole takes a tight
Oh my
game one.
God. In the semifinal round for Bo.
It is.
It was a complete roller coaster. Bo was able to keep
Exact same turn one play, by the way.
Yep, we have Rummagem coming out, getting Equilinks, I would guess. Yep, there it is. The two best buddies. And it looks like we did not have any mulligans. That always feels good. Hopefully both of our casters starting with hands that are going to get them where they need to go.
Oh gosh, I forgot there was a mulligan at the start of that last one. Think how close that one was and how different it could have been with 2 extra spirits.
Could have mattered. But then again, Bo did see a lot of insane cards.
Yeah.
And so who's to say if that mulligan mattered?
So hard calls here for Swolax off the bat. Argo is a card. And giving your opponent a good Argo by attacking puts them in a position where they can have a super profitable Equilinks on the crackback. It's a question of if you want to do that or just develop your defensive options.
And it seems like defense is the way that Swolax is choosing to go with this rabbit.
All right, we are going to see what's on the top of the deck.
No response from Bo on this cast of Ast Rabbit. Swole going to be able to use the effect.
Little bit of a deliberation here.
Yeah. Looking at what we have in hand, looking at our options, trying to think what we're missing, what we need moving forward, all the pieces that we're going to need to overcome a deck that can do so many things. As you have called it, a pile of different lines of whether it be through Argo and Lestragon is still looming. That is something that we can never forget. But we will see.
It says, you know what, actually, if you want to eat the rabbit, that's fine. Don't want to set too many cards into a looming Equilinks, obviously.
Oh, we almost got a glimpse at that.
I think it was Argo. Going for the Cybermaul here.
Yep.
Wow, incredible. One of the things about not setting back row from Swolax to play around the Equilinks is you play into cards you otherwise would want to Gorgon's Gaze. So down comes the Golden Fleece. That's going to mean the Equilinks is on at any time there is an Elestral on board. You can just misenchant it with Earths and then use that to trade for one of Swolax's back row runes.
And we, this is going to be, I'm very interested to see how we enchant it. And it is properly enchanted.
All right, we're going for it.
have the Luminapes there, which means that this Cybermaul is going to be really annoying to get rid of.
Yeah, Bo says, you don't want to do anything? Well, I'm not going to do anything either. I'm going to represent a ton of spirits on the board, and then when I have to play reactively, I can just land an Equilinks and always have the material available to Nexus to and from. No way. Yes. I love this.
My goodness, the Thunderstorm. And we did see this yesterday in the feature match. We know that that's, I believe, in the side, and that was an incredible choice to pull from the side for Swolax.
While Hurricane's incredibly powerful for sure, has the ability to clean up back row runes, Thunderstorm's incredible for its ability not only to punish people for play patterns around Hurricane, but also to hit face-up runes.
Yep.
This deck is chock full of them. Edward here, incredible. Let's move that Cybermaul, see if we can't eat the board. The bluest eddy.
The bluest eddy. Swolax is amazing at eddy fishing, specifically for those blue ones.
All right, here's the hard question. Do we start setting things? We are going to do it.
Yep.
All right, so we know the set is Argo, which is going to be tough. We're going to go into the Cybermaul here. So I think we know the Argo is coming, and as a result, we are trying to make it sting less. This Argo is going to...
Scythe of Demeter, I'm thinking.
Get Scythe of Demeter, yeah, and prevent the Cybermaul from being totally annihilated. That's just one more card we don't have to worry about. This is going to blank the Ast Rabbit attack, but the Eddy does still threaten it, right? Scythe is 1-2. So
I think it's 2-3.
Oh,
it's
2-3.
higher on defense, actually. So unfortunately, it just protects from Eddy, which makes this a great grab for Bo. But yeah. Unfortunately for Swolax.
Eddy into the Rummagem, and then Equilinks comes down and threatens the entire game state. Bo thinking here.
going
Probably
to
not worth
just,
fighting over.
yeah, let that Rummagem go down. He's done his job. He got the Equilynx, who's going to be coming out this next turn.
Got to be a Gorgons if we're willing to do this play. Oh, wow.
Oh,
And Swole's eyes went
Heliolith.
wide.
Yeah.
So Heliolith is
Yeah.
crazy for sure, but you really don't want to bounce either of these Elestrals.
No, because Swole would be more than happy to get the same value out of them. Oh, there goes Eddie.
All right, yeah, so it's fine.
Well, I
sure.
guess, you know what? Heliolith does not care.
Yeah.
With that 5/5 stat line, there's nothing that Eddie can do one way or another. Unless we have Demeter.
Tsunami here would be pretty important.
That would be nice. However...
It isn't even really that important because how do you out this board state? We're just going to take 3 or 2 total.
Yep.
So it looks like the Heliolith is getting over the Astrabbit, and then we are shielding the Cybermaw. Yeah.
That feels good, especially knowing that that Equilynx is in hand, turning off the possibility for a Nexus this next turn.
All right, we got to figure out a way to beat the Heliolith, but other than that, I'm feeling good. Let's find that one of resting. Soul's looking shaky.
No, he's got it. He's got it.
No, like physically, he's like shaking.
No, you're right.
This is the most important Elestrals game of his career so far.
Ever to exist of all time,
Yeah.
in fact. And
We got something.
it is
Oh,
that. Oh,
wow.
you're kidding.
Oh,
That
wow.
is incredible. Do you
We
think
know
that
it,
was a
we know
top
it.
deck? Or do you
I don't. I
think that he's been holding on to that?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Are we doing the proactive Eddie here?
The Eddie coming out. We know it's in hand. Here he comes.
Okay. So the thing about this Eddie is that
Wow.
it's going to get PTA'd. You're so happy about that as Swole. This is an Elestral that's so reactive. You are getting a reaction from your opponent off of playing it proactively, and you get to dome them for 1, and they pay out at the end of the turn. They're taking 3 off this interaction, going down to 7 in a deck that's trying to resolve a 4-cost artifact enchanter. It's really perfect.
And Heliolith is now gone.
Well, at least one Heliolith is gone.
Very true. But
That's
Here-
about as bad as it gets for Swole.
yeah.
Follow up Cybermaw. We can use the Golden Fleece using spirits out of the yard, so there's no mechanism by which he can even get Bo a little further down.
I wonder if they're going to go for the Earth Spirits instead of the proper enchantment because of Equilynx, or if Bo can't really afford to do that
I think
now.
you have to use Solars
From-
out of the Underworld,
from the
but I'm
Underworld?
not sure.
Okay.
I think otherwise you're right. It's pretty likely
That would have
they
been-
would throw some Terralises under there.
Sure. Yeah, Bo, with this spirit count differential, it's pretty critical right now that he start to at least make things a bit more even.
So Cybermaw's crazy. It's an incredibly powerful card. It's hard to get rid of. One thing it isn't is a lot of pressure. Just hits for 1, despite the fact that there's so many spirits represented on the board. Swole is kind of in a hard place now because Equilynx can theoretically
Ooh, the set
come
and
down.
pass. A Cryoblast would be crazy here.
Cryoblast doesn't do anything yet. You have to get rid of the Golden Fleece first.
Yeah.
Going for the Lumaru, another fantastic,
Water.
aggressive Elestral.
Water Enchanted as well, in case one of those set cards is a Tsunami, which is what Swole would have wanted to use here.
And Swole, who was at like a 5 spirit differential just last turn, spends a turn expending, and now it's just about tied up. What are
Okay.
we working with?
It's coming down to these top decks because I'm not
Arcolith.
thinking I'm not thinking he has a guy. We are going to see another expend to draw is what I would.
He's thumbing it.
Yeah, maybe a
moving.
guy. Okay, you're right. Well,
The thing with Soul's deck is he's got to be bricking on something. It's either copies of Ambro or Elestrals that are conditionally good, Eddies and the like.
it might be Eddie
Spectress.
with a water enchantment.
That is a really weird decision. I think we can see some... Oh, I know what's going on here.
Demeter coming out.
I know what's going on here.
Oh,
Okay, so I don't want to say it too loud because they might be in earshot. But we do have the lunar spirits in our spirit
plus
deck.
Demeter.
We elected not to use them on the Spectress. Why is that? Well, we have the capacity to full moon in battle step and turn the Spectress on.
Okay.
So we're going to first try and get over the Lumaru, simplify the board state just a little bit. If that's successful, we can bait our opponent into an attack into, a Spectress that will turn online and not only trade for the Cybermaw, but just take it.
Ah, okay.
Here we are going for a damage Gorgons.
Unfortunately.
Bo's now at 3. Swole is thinking here because we can go Battle Step, Full Moon. Turn on the Spectress. Oh no, we're just passing. That was an attack deck Gorgons. My bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that.
Bo back up to 5 after this Ambro.
Mhm.
It's super telegraphed, this Full Moon, and Bo's an incredible player. I'm sure that he knows that it's happening. Not again.
Oh, this is devastating.
That might be the end of the game. If we have a Gorgons, we have to deploy it now, and then we only just have enough for a decent Full Moon. Woof. What do we do here?
I think we scoop.
Yeah, we go next game.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh.
Killer Helioliths. I was talking to Swole beforehand, and he was like, I'm not actually concerned about anything in Bo's deck with the singular exception of Heliolith.
And
that's
shows
why.
Yeah.
That was back-to-back Helioliths runners. Looks like we are. We are going to do the turn 1 expend a draw. Maybe set 1?
Yep.
Yeah.
And pass. All right.
All right. Oh, wow.
Turn 1.
As bad as it gets. That was one motion, by the way.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
The speed that Bo is pulling these things off. I mean, you mentioned that play that you were saying is your favorite of the entire tournament at this point. Just less than 10 seconds, things that would take players minutes to pull off. It really just goes to show these practice movements, these practice game states. Bo is really in their element right now.
Yeah. I wonder if this is a shield and you take it. You certainly do. Yeah.
That's a valuable shield.
It's kind of valuable. You do get rid of one of the golden fleeces, of course. That's important. Ooh, whoa, Cybermaw back to the hand, baby. But the Cybermaw can come down again next turn and cast the golden fleece out of the yard using the Luminates from the yard. I mean, it's not a big of a deal.
That's very true, unless...
Whip up?
Eddie.
Water Spect.
Water Spect.
What's up with this Water Spect?
Swole has been really liking this the past couple games. We do see a back row, and Bo is going to just take this damage.
Is this your favorite Spect art?
Oh my god.
Going for it again.
Oh my gosh. I have to say, stained glass.
Yeah.
That one is gorgeous.
So this is the only other golden fleece. We are going to cast it using the Luminapes from the yard. It doesn't yet really trade profitably with the Spectres. Swole is, I'm sure, trying to get Bo to perform this attack, but he's not going to do it unless he has an Argo, and I'm not seeing no Argo.
The meter. That would do it.
Fine. For 3 here. Boy, if we had a Thunderstorm, this would be a great one.
Yeah.
Onto the Cybermaw. Cybermaw attack. Do we have another shield? Swole's thinking. Another shield here would be killer. I imagine it would have been a snap pick. You would never make a decision about it.
No, because
right,
that would put the whole Golden Fleece package offline. I believe we only run 2.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, there's step 1. Reston gets the Golden Fleece into the yard. We are now no longer worried about that Heliolith coming down with the quickness.
Okay.
Mustation does beat it, but only if it connects. So I guess we'll find out together.
And it does not.
Oh, it
does.
Well,
it does, unfortunately, because that is an Argo. And
Devastating Argo, importantly, getting Scythe of Demeter here gets the extra buff because the Demeter is enchanted. Do we have the requisite spirits for it? We've been through a lot of Terratlas already. We
there
do.
They are.
Oh.
That is exactly.
This is going to cycle those Terratlases from the yard back. I think we have 1. And it is going to pop that Cybermaw up to, what, a 7?
6, I believe. I think it's 2/3.
What's the Demeter bonus? Oh, so we got to get Harmonia. All right.
Oh, okay, it's Necklace. The Demeter bonus is that you heal 2 instead of 1.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, in that case, attacking with a 6 instead of a 5 has put Bo in a position where they're at 8 spirits and have a Harmonia on board. Ooh. That is a little scary, but we've watched him win, I think, every game where Harmonia has stuck.
I believe you're right. I don't know if Swole is going to be able to do anything about this right now. That burn is going to really hurt, though.
Yeah. But Swole is also thinking.
Liberating.
So So Swole could Argo here himself if he wanted, but I think is understanding that that's maybe not the play.
And we're going to see the burn go through here. Going to take 2 because of that Harmonia.
That'll be at end step. Bo's got to play out the turn first.
True? Yes.
And despite the fact that they've developed so many cards, they actually have a ton of cards in hand, too. Kaufmel here pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Equalizes the spirit state, and it looks like we are going to have to play a little bit of Elestrals today.
And we're just taking those 2 spirits of damage. It always trips me up when I see an artifact attached, because it's like, what do you mean you're only going to take 1 from this? Oh.
Right, yeah.
That says because it's not...
Feels like it should do more.
Yeah. But that would be insane, actually.
Yeah.
So...
Oh no.
Spending to draw.
Oh, miserable.
We hear the crowd. They are so invested. The shouts of, no, not this.
Not like
Not
this.
now.
We might have the raw Ascension Heliolith.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna try and put the screws on Swole as quickly as possible.
That would be devastating over the Kaufmel. But no, we are going to go
Bunny.
for Astrabbit in attack here.
Ooh, Bunny very scary. Bunny very, very scary. Swole is 1 Tsunami away from cleaning up this board state, but he's got to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Bo's about to go down to 2 off this Harmonia. Swole, let's see an Eruption.
I was about to say, that would be crazy.
Taking all 3.
Wow.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal, just because Bo's at 4, about to be 2. But it is that big of a deal because all of those spirits are represented in the cards on field.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the board.
And with Demeter still active as well with 2,
No way,
this
that
is
was an
another
expend
expend to draw. Oh, that's devastating.
Wow. Oh, that's so miserable.
We just cannot get an answer here,
Oh, we've got something.
which is
Ambro.
an Ambrosia. We did already see the resting, so we know that that is no
offline.
longer an option. Unfortunately,
Put 2 Terratlas back, so we may have an Earthquake.
Earthquake would be great. As you mentioned, we are looking for that Tsunami.
Sort of. So
Rabbit
one,
makes that a little more complicated, doesn't
one
it?
really weird play we could do here is Earthquake the Kaufmel and just pass. Put Bo down to 1 because they'll re-enchant to avoid dying to the Harmonia. And then say, I am playing with 9. Here comes the
Here's
Ascension.
the Ascension.
Kaufmel on the
Into
Kaufmel, as
another
bad as it gets.
Kaufmel.
Yeah. So we're going to go back up to 5
Oh,
from Bo's
man.
perspective.
Mm-hmm. When Bo is at 2 again, it's like this is manageable. This is something that's
Or 4, rather.
Well, when we were at 2 before the heal, but now that we've had the heal.
Going to go ahead and pull the trigger on the Tsunami.
Yeah.
Everything to defense. Bo goes down to 2. We are going to hit for 2.
Yeah.
If this is worth, he's checking if this is worth a shield. Probably not. Okay, 7 to Bo's 2 once again.
We only have, well,
Edward? Spect.
that water spect again.
So Water Spect trades for the Cybermaw. There's nothing that beats the Spect. Oh my god.
What?
Don't tell nobody, this is lethal. If there's a full moon set, this is a lethal attack. Oh no. It would have to be a full moon plus like an... Oh. No, because the Kaufmel's got 2. It's not a lethal attack, but it's a damn good one. We try and get over the Cybermaw here, for sure. If one of Bo's set cards is like a shield, it's really a problem.
I mean, it has.
I mean, we've seen nothing. We've given him no
Yeah.
good shields.
It
Organs?
is a Gorgon's Gaze. Gonna
That's
pay
not
off
so
in that.
bad. That's
Yeah.
not so bad.
We at least get to stick a body on the field. Necklace going away. Bo is stuck
Turns
at
off
2.
Heliolith at least for a little.
But
Unless we just ascend
unless
to
we
it.
just hard ascend and we're gonna
Easiest
heal.
Gorgons of my life.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At least there is that.
Bo goes up to 4 here.
Unfortunately, the Gorgons does not also prevent the healing, but keeping it a little bit.
Switch
under
everything to
control.
attack and go meter. Trying to...
Decided not to attack with the rabbit after all here.
Yeah, I think correctly assuming that since Demeter only pumps 1, if Swell has like a shield for the Cybermaw, that's how we could get into a really bad position. If the rabbit goes to attack and Swell has like a full moon, he could win from there.
With only
Swell
one
down to 1.
spirit, though.
We got an Ambro? We do.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, this is such a
Still
tight
in
game.
this. I cannot
Such a
believe
tight game.
this.
We got to find an out to the Heliolith. That's like
Did
the
get
last scary card.
The one lunar.
We did. I saw.
And again,
It's not enough for a full moon. It's not enough for a full moon.
no, the 2 Earth though could be an earthquake.
Could be an earthquake, but doesn't beat the Astrabbit. Oh god, we're just one spirit off of being able to do anything super relevant. Like earthquake, Heliolith represent full moon is incredible. Full moon requires too many lunars. We need a second Ambro. We need a mechanism to heal. I don't see another way out. I think he's making the same conclusion here, kind of shaking his head. Oh my god, that's it.
This is a scoop.
Oh my god. Wow. And Bo walks it.
My god.
Oh my good. Look at Bo. Wow.
What an incredible game. I speechless by the end there.
Oh no. Just couldn't find. Where Pup, by the way?
Yeah,
couldn't find dudes. Bo riding Heliolith to a behind victory. Entire crowd here.
Gosh.
Everyone who's
All
stuck around for the
applauding.
finals on their feet applauding for Bo.
Congratulations to Bo. What an incredible win. I mean, just look at this.
I've never seen a player bounce back like that. I've never seen a player retain composure even when down one game away from finals so many times today. How often did we see them do that? What an unbelievable finish from an incredible player playing a deck that he poured his heart and soul into.
We are back with our first ever in-person champion. I am joined by Bo. Bo, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
What an incredible series of games. What an incredible run you have had. I know it's got to be a lot. Tell me what you're thinking.
How did I get here? Going through Swiss, like I won the first 5 rounds undefeated. And then going into those last 3, I was like, just need a 33% win rate from here. I'm in
Yeah.
top 16. Got my 1 win and got into top 16 and then like chill. I've got the Pantera, made it to top 4, realized I'm this close to the Astrabbit, won that one, and then like played out of my mind.
That is absolutely correct. You played out of your mind. Those are some of the, if not the best games of Elestrals I've ever seen played. The fact that the team has said ourselves that you have made some of our favorite plays that we have ever seen. Tell us a bit. I mean, I know this is your 3rd time up here talking to us, but tell us about that. Tell us about how you got to this level.
I'll be honest, I don't know. Like
Some people are just built different, I guess.
I came into Elestrals with 0 card game experience, and like I placed pretty well until my win, and then failed to top up until this event, and now 100% win rate once I hit top cut.
And now here you are, the first ever champion.
Yeah.
I think that that's so beautiful. Is there anyone who you've been testing with who's been in the tank with you? Is this yours exclusively? What's the story there?
So this is exclusive my deck.
All you. Wow.
The testing group that I was playing with, 5 of us,
Okay.
including me, made it into top cut.
Wow.
And we were all on different decks. And like going through the single elimination bracket, there was 2 friendly fires, top 16, another one, top 8, and then the last one was the streamed match for top 4.
Wow. Which that was such a beautiful match. And especially comparing that one to the finals match where game 1, you're down.
Yeah.
And then you have to make the last 2 games. And you did it both times. You pulled it off beautifully.
Heliolith came in so clutch. I put it into side, like, this is my out for jank decks. Like, if they go, like, Chronodile with Trident Poseidon, I can't out that otherwise. If they go Voltempest, that's hard to out. But I also said that it was going to be good into players that know how to play around my Lustragon.
Sure.
And that was entirely true. Like, top cut was, like, carried by Heliolith. And I opened it in opener so many times. Yes, I'm going to keep this. Like, I have Heliolith, Cybermaul, and Argo. I'm getting this Heliolith out at some point during this game.
So there truly was some divine intervention, making sure that you had all those puzzle pieces.
There was a
in
lot
your
of
hand.
luck.
I gotta say, Cybermall is one of those Elestrals that I think a lot of people said bad, we don't care. And yet, we saw you use it to devastating effects.
It's overperformed heavily in this tournament. Back when I was on, a few months back when I was still on a similar list,
Yeah.
back in Daybreak, I said that Cybermall was the best worst card in the deck because
Okay.
it was just like sometimes just a hard brick.
Mm-hmm.
Like the golden fleeces were just not very fun to draw because Cybermall can only get the fleece from deck.
Yeah.
But then I just changed how I viewed that golden fleece, and it's like, this is second and third copies of Equilinx that you have to out,
Mm-hmm.
or second and third copy of Lustragon that you have to out.
Sure.
And that perspective change changed how I felt about Golden Fleece and Cybermall.
Mm-hmm.
And like it threw my sighting pattern completely out of the window because I would sight in Eddies and Cryoblast
Sure.
in place of the Cybermalls and Golden Fleece, and it's like, I want to keep these cards in my deck.
Clearly, it paid off, as
Yeah.
Cybermall really was kind of a superstar of at least
Oh,
your
yeah.
your finals run here. And speaking of that, the games with Swole, with your co-finalist, tell me about how that was. How was it playing against Swole? What was going through your mind during those games?
So game one, I probably misplayed. I should have, like, I had Lustragon in hand. I should have
Oh.
turboed out into it
Okay.
and just say, if you have shield, you have shield.
Mm-hmm.
But I respected it too much and just got out tempos from there. Games 2 and 3, I'm like, I know that he's on Argo.
Sure.
Heliolith is going to be really good here because Argo is a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
If you play it, I will bounce your Elestral back. Like, even as a 5 guy, it was great. Like,
Yeah.
a 5 that you can cast out and deals 2 damage is really strong, surprisingly.
That's incredible. And again, this whole run has been such a wonderful, beautiful story, really, about someone who believed in a card that not one single other person, maybe other than A-Drive himself, believed in. And I could not be happier for you. With this crowd who is excited to get into our closing ceremonies to crown you as our first ever champion, I am going to go ahead and say goodbye for me, and we are going to throw you over to the closing ceremonies.
And your champion of the 2025 Dallas Open, rocking photosynthesis,